All right, welcome back, everyone. So today's deep dive is going to be a little different, a bit of a unique one for us.
Different how?
Ever feel like you're just drifting, kind of like going through the motions, but not really sure where you're headed?
Yeah,
Well, trust me, you're not alone.
not at all.
We're diving deep today into that feeling of being lost in life.
Right.
Something that, honestly, so many people experience, even if they don't always talk about it.
It's surprisingly common, really. And it cuts across, all sorts of backgrounds, life stages, the whole bit.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And for this deep dive, we've got a really interesting mix of sources.
Oh, yeah.
We've got personal blog posts, advice columns, even a Reddit thread. People getting real about feeling stuck.
Wow.
Oh, and we also found some insights from a mental health podcast that tackles this head on.
Awesome.
Our goal today is to help you understand not just what it means to feel lost, but also some tangible things you can do to move forward.
Yeah, it's not about finding that single right answer.
Yeah.
It's more about understanding, the different reasons why people feel this way.
Yeah.
And then, giving you a toolbox of strategies to choose from.
So first things first.
Okay.
Let's just acknowledge that feeling lost can be really tough.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to beat yourself up thinking you're the only one who feels this way.
Absolutely.
Or that you're somehow behind in life.
Oh, yeah. I've been there.
But the truth is, it's a much more common experience than you might think.
Absolutely. It's actually often a sign that you're on the verge of some pretty significant positive change.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, think of it like a ship that needs to adjust its course.
Okay.
That initial turn, it might feel a bit unsteady,
Yeah.
but it's essential to actually get to the final destination.
Okay. I love that analogy. It really paints a picture. And speaking of personal journeys, one of our sources, Elena Kate Pettit, this lifestyle blogger, really opens up about her own experiences with feeling lost.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this blog, The Darling Academy,
Okay.
where she talks about homemaking, vintage style,
All right.
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But she's also really honest about the challenges of life.
Yeah.
And she's actually gone through this feeling of being lost multiple times.
Wow. And what's interesting is that she experienced this at very different points in her life. After becoming a mother, after a big move to a new country,
Wow.
even as a teenager, each time she felt this sense of disorientation, like she'd lost her way.
Yeah.
But what's really striking is that from the outside,
Yeah.
her life looked pretty ideal.
Right.
You might even look at her situation and think, wow, I wish I had that.
Right. It's like a reminder that we often compare ourselves to these curated versions of people's lives,
Yes.
not realizing that everyone has their own struggles, even those who seem to have it all.
Totally.
You might relate to Elena's experience. She found that even with outward success, trying to meet everyone else's expectations
Right.
left her feeling empty.
Yeah.
This points to the idea that sometimes feeling lost comes from a disconnect between who we think we should be and who we actually are.
Alina's story really highlights how easy it is to get caught up in our explicit selves, right?
Okay.
The roles and expectations we think we need to fulfill.
Right.
But as one of our articles, Why Feeling Lost is Necessary to Build the Life You Want, points out, there's also this implicit personality.
Okay.
Our true, authentic self. The one driven by our core values and passions.
This idea of living someone else's life is really resonating with me.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate on how this disconnect between our explicit and implicit selves might actually show up in our day-to-day lives?
Absolutely. When we're constantly focused on external validation, meeting deadlines, achieving goals that maybe don't even truly matter to us,
Right.
fitting into a certain mold, we can end up neglecting those deeper needs and desires that make us feel truly fulfilled, It's like we're running on a treadmill, going through the motions, but not really going anywhere meaningful.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. And we've touched on one reason why people might feel lost, this idea of living out of sync with their true selves.
Yeah.
But I know from our sources that there are actually a lot of different paths to this feeling.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Definitely. Let's dive into a few more. We've got major life changes,
Okay.
which can really shake things up.
Yeah.
Elena's story touched on this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also a big theme in the Let's Talk About Feeling Lost podcast.
Okay.
Things like moving, breakups, job loss, even having a child.
Right.
These events can disrupt our sense of who we are and where we fit in the world.
It's like the rug gets pulled out from under you,
Totally.
and suddenly you're trying to find your balance all over again.
And then there's the flip side.
All right.
Sometimes it's not a huge upheaval,
Yeah.
but a lack of challenge,
Okay.
or just plain boredom that makes us feel lost.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that the Don't Know What to Do with Your Life article on Medium really dives into.
Okay.
We're wired for growth and stimulation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when our day-to-day lives don't provide that,
Right.
it's easy to feel like we're drifting, like we're not living up to our potential.
That's so relatable.
Yeah.
We all crave that sense of purpose, that feeling of being engaged and excited by life.
Right.
And then, of course, we can't ignore the influence of, well, everyone else.
Of course not.
This pressure to present a perfect image,
Yeah.
even when we're struggling internally,
Yeah.
is something Elena experienced too.
Right.
She talks about how social media,
Oh, yeah.
especially,
Absolutely.
can make it feel like everyone else has it figured out. And if you don't, there's something wrong with you.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
And it's something that comes up a lot in the Reddit thread we have as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. People are feeling the weight of societal expectations. The pressure to hit certain milestones by a certain age,
Okay.
to have the right career,
Right.
the perfect relationship, all of that.
Right.
But the reality is that those timelines are often completely arbitrary.
Right.
And don't reflect the unique pace of each person's life.
So we've got major life changes, lack of challenge, societal pressures,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing there's even more to unpack here.
There is another common thread,
Yeah.
especially in Alina's story and the rediscovering yourself when you feel lost article,
Okay.
is this idea of a disconnect from our values and passions when we're not living in a way that feels aligned with our core beliefs and what truly excites us.
Yeah.
It can create a sense of inner conflict, like we're on the wrong path.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I'm actually feeling a bit overwhelmed just thinking about all the different ways we can feel lost. How about you?
It is a lot to process, and it's important to remember that these reasons aren't mutually exclusive.
Okay.
They often intertwine and influence each other,
Right.
creating a complex web of factors that contribute to that feeling of being lost.
Right.
But don't worry, we'll break it all down.
Okay.
And give you practical strategies to navigate these challenges in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, because I'm already feeling a little more hopeful just having named some of these things,
Yeah,
and I'm definitely ready to hear about those strategies.
we'll get there.
Okay.
But first, I think it's important to acknowledge another element that contributes to feeling lost.
Okay.
And this is something that Elena's story and the Reddit thread both touch on. It's the feeling of isolation,
Right.
of lacking meaningful connections and a sense of belonging.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We're social creatures, after all.
Totally.
And when those bonds are missing or strained, it can definitely amplify that feeling of being adrift.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we've got these big areas, the disconnect between who we think we should be and who we truly are.
Okay.
Those major life changes that can shake our foundation,
Yeah.
the lack of challenge or boredom that can leave us feeling stagnant, the pressure of societal expectations,
Right.
not living in alignment with our values and passions, and finally, the feeling of isolation and disconnection.
Okay, so now that we've kind of laid out the why behind feeling lost,
Right.
let's move on to the what now.
Okay.
I'm ready to hear about those strategies. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into feeling lost, where we'll unpack a whole toolkit of approaches to help you find your way.
Sounds good. Welcome back. In the first part of this deep dive, we explored some of the common reasons why people feel lost. Now let's shift gears
Okay.
and focus on what you can actually do about it.
Okay, I'm ready for some action. I know our sources had tons of great advice, from journaling prompts to side hustle ideas to even connecting with nature.
Right.
Where should we start?
Well, given that you love learning new things,
I do.
let's start with a strategy that's all about gaining self-awareness,
Okay.
creating space for reflection.
Ooh, yes. It's like hitting the pause button on the craziness of life
Right.
and actually tuning into what's going on inside.
Several of our sources emphasize the importance of slowing down and getting in touch with your thoughts, feelings, and needs. They suggested things like journaling, meditation,
Right.
even just taking a few minutes each day to be mindful and present.
And I remember that Rediscovering Yourself When You Feel Lost article has a really cool journaling prompts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, writing about what you're grateful for, reflecting on times you felt really proud of yourself,
Hmm.
and even noticing those things that drain your energy.
Exactly. It's about getting clear on what truly matters to you, what brings you joy, what aligns with your values,
Yeah.
and what makes you feel depleted.
Right.
Once you have that awareness, you can start making choices that lead you towards a more fulfilling life.
And what about Elena's suggestion to remember what it is you love about life, even the little things? I thought that was so sweet.
Mm,
She's talking about how even browsing vintage mixing bowls
okay.
or watching a classic British sitcom could lift her spirits.
That's such a great point. It's about giving yourself permission to enjoy the simple pleasures, the things that make you smile, even if they seem insignificant.
Yeah.
Those little moments of joy can really add up and make a big difference in how you feel overall.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder to be present and find the good in each day,
Right.
even when things feel a bit off kilter.
Now, in addition to self-reflection,
Okay.
our sources also highlighted the importance of pushing past those self-imposed limitations and trying new things.
Okay, so stepping outside that comfort zone.
Exactly.
This feels particularly relevant for someone who might be feeling stuck in a rut
Yes.
or just plain bored with their day-to-day life.
Exactly. When we challenge ourselves to try new things,
Yeah.
we open ourselves up to new possibilities, new perspectives, and even new passions.
And like that Medium article about feeling lost mentioned,
Yeah.
it's about approaching these experiences with curiosity and a playful attitude, like a
Yeah.
kid exploring the world for the first time.
Right. And remember, it doesn't have to be anything huge or drastic.
Right.
It could be as simple as trying a new recipe,
Okay.
taking a different route to work,
Yeah.
joining a book club, signing up for an online course,
Right.
or even just striking up a conversation with someone you wouldn't normally talk to.
I'm already feeling more energized just thinking about all the possibilities.
It's amazing how even small changes can shake things up and create a ripple effect in our lives.
Okay, so we've got self-reflection and trying new things.
Yes, yes.
But I have a feeling our sources offered even more wisdom on how to navigate feeling lost, right?
They did. And this next piece of advice really resonated with me.
Okay.
It's about reframing how we think about this whole experience.
Okay.
Remember Andre Pell's video?
Yes.
My honest advice for someone feeling lost in life?
Yeah.
He had that great line
Yeah.
about how feeling lost is not a bug,
Right?
it's a feature.
Oh, yeah. That really stuck with me, too.
Yeah.
It's like flipping the script on this whole idea of feeling lost.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing it as a failure,
Right.
we can reframe it as an opportunity for growth and redirection.
Exactly. And he also offered some really practical tips for dealing with the decision-making process, which can be especially daunting when you're feeling lost and uncertain about which path to take.
Yeah, I remember he said something like, pick the path with the downsides you want.
Yes.
That felt like a real aha moment for me.
I know, right?
Can you talk about that a bit more?
Absolutely. When we're faced with a big decision,
Okay.
it's easy to get caught up in trying to avoid negative outcomes,
Yeah.
to find the perfect choice that will magically solve all our problems.
Right.
But the reality is that no choice is perfect.
Right.
Every path comes with its own set of challenges and trade-offs.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong decision,
Yeah.
Andre suggests focusing on the downsides you're actually willing to live with, the challenges you're excited to tackle.
So it's about identifying those things that might be tough, but that ultimately align with your values and goals.
Exactly.
It's like choosing the hard that feels right,
Yes.
rather than the easy that leaves you feeling empty.
Exactly. And I think this advice is especially relevant for anyone who's feeling overwhelmed by the pressure to have it all figured out.
Oh, definitely.
Which, let's be honest, is
Yeah.
probably most of us at some point in our lives.
I know, I've fallen into that trap more times than I can count. But it's so reassuring to hear Andre say that no one has it all figured out.
Right.
It's like a permission slip to let go of that pressure and embrace the messy, beautiful journey of figuring things out as we go.
Absolutely. We're all works in progress.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And, speaking of letting go of pressure, I remember Littleser talked about something that really resonated with me.
Oh, yeah.
She used this analogy of tree people to describe the different types of friendships we have throughout life.
Oh, yes. Tell me about that. I'm curious to hear how that connects to feeling lost.
Well, she described leaf people as those friends who come into our lives for a season,
Okay.
bringing a burst of color and energy.
Mm,
But then their presence fades as the season changes,
right.
Branch people stay for a bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
weathering some storms with us, but maybe not all of them.
Right.
And then there are the root people,
Okay.
those friends who are deeply grounded in our lives,
Yeah.
providing unwavering support and connection through all seasons.
What a beautiful way to look at friendships. And it's a great reminder that relationships ebb and flow.
Right.
And that's perfectly natural.
Yeah.
Not every connection is meant to last forever,
Right.
but each one can teach us valuable lessons and
Yeah.
enrich our lives in different ways.
Exactly. And this whole analogy really ties into that feeling of isolation that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
When we're feeling lost, it's easy to withdraw and isolate ourselves.
Right.
But that often makes things worse.
Totally.
Elena really encouraged people to put themselves out there, to seek connection, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable.
I love that. And it doesn't have to be about finding those root people right away.
Right.
Even those leaf people connections can offer support and companionship,
Yeah.
even for a short time.
Right. She suggested things like inviting colleagues over for dinner, joining a book club, taking a class, or even just volunteering for a cause you care about.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that helps you connect with others who share your interests or values.
It's a reminder that we're not meant to go through this journey alone.
Right.
Even small interactions can make a difference, and you never know where those connections might lead.
Yeah.
Sometimes a leaf person blossoms into a branch person,
Right.
or even a root person over time.
Okay, so we've covered self-reflection, trying new things, reframing our thoughts, connecting with others.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should add to our toolkit for navigating feeling lost?
Well, there's one more piece of advice that I think will especially resonate with you,
Okay.
given your love for learning and exploring new ideas. Remember how several of our sources, including that Medium article,
Yeah.
suggested turning a passion into a side hustle?
Oh, yes. That's a strategy I'm really excited to talk about. It's like taking something you love, something that brings you joy and energy,
Exactly.
and finding a way to share it with the world,
Yeah.
even if it's just on a small scale at first.
Exactly. It could be anything from writing to photography to crafting to coaching to teaching, literally anything that lights you up.
Wow.
And the beauty of a side hustle is that it allows you to dip your toes in the water without quitting your day job.
Right. It's a low-risk way to experiment, to gain experience, and to potentially even create a new income stream,
Yeah.
all while doing something you're passionate about.
Right.
And who knows, maybe that side hustle will eventually blossom into something bigger,
It could.
something that becomes your main gig.
The possibilities are endless.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Self-reflection, trying new things, reframing our thoughts, connecting with others, and turning a passion into a side hustle.
Right.
It's a lot to take in,
It is.
but I already feel like I have a better understanding of how to approach this whole feeling of being lost.
Remember, you don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
Choose the strategies that resonate with you.
Yeah.
And start small.
No.
Even small changes can have a big impact over time.
And I think it's important to remember that this journey of self-discovery is ongoing.
Absolutely.
There will be times when you feel more lost than others,
Yes.
and that's okay.
Totally.
It's all part of the process.
Exactly. It's about embracing the ups and downs, being kind to yourself,
Yeah.
and trusting that you have everything you need to navigate this journey. You've got this.
Okay, that was incredibly helpful. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to touch on one more thing that came up in our research. The idea of connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Well, several of our sources mentioned, like, the importance of connecting with nature or exploring spirituality as ways to find grounding and a sense of meaning,
Yeah.
especially when you're feeling lost.
Ah, yes. This idea of tapping into something bigger than ourselves. It's like finding that anchor that helps you stay steady even when the waves of life are crashing all around you.
Exactly. And remember that mental health podcast. Let's talk about feeling lost.
Yeah.
The host made a really important point.
What's that?
He said that spirituality doesn't have to be about religion.
Right.
It's more about that feeling of connection to something beyond your everyday experience.
Yeah.
Whether it's through nature, art, music, a cause you believe in, even just that sense of awe at the mystery of life itself.
That's such a beautiful way to think about it. It's like tapping into that universal energy that connects us all,
Yeah.
reminding us that we're part of something larger than ourselves.
And I think that sense of connection can be incredibly powerful, especially when we're feeling lost and alone.
Absolutely. It can provide a sense of perspective, of purpose,
Mm.
and even of comfort in those moments when we feel like we're adrift.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into feeling lost,
Okay.
I want to bring together some of the key threads we've been exploring.
All right.
We've talked about the importance of self-reflection, trying new things, reframing our thoughts, connecting with others,
Right.
even turning a passion into a side hustle.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that feeling lost is not a destination.
All
It's a
right.
transition.
It's a process of growth and evolution.
Yeah.
A time to shed old skins, to step outside those comfort zones, and to rediscover who we are and what truly matters to us.
And I think that's incredibly empowering.
It is. Because it means we have the power to shape our own journeys, to create a life that feels authentic and meaningful, even amidst the uncertainty.
So if you're feeling lost right now, remember this. You are not alone. You are not broken.
Yeah.
And you are not stuck.
You got it.
You are
Yes.
simply in a period of transition, a time of exploration and discovery.
Embrace the unknown. Be kind to yourself. And trust that you have everything you need to navigate this journey and emerge even stronger and more resilient than before. You've got this.
What a beautiful way to put it. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one last thought.
Yeah.
Remember how Elena talked about feeling lost as a sign of impending positive change?
Yes?
And how Andre Pell said that feeling lost is a feature of life, not a bug?
Yes. Those were both really powerful reframes.
Well, it made me think about this. What if we viewed feeling lost not as a failure,
Okay.
but as a compass recalibrating,
Right.
pointing us toward a more authentic and fulfilling life?
Mm-hmm.
If you could look at it that way, what would be the first step you'd take on that journey?
That's a powerful question to ponder. And I encourage everyone listening to sit with that for a while.
Yeah,
Let it simmer. See what emerges.
I love that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into feeling lost. We hope it's giving you some food for thought, some inspiration, and maybe even a little nudge to embrace the journey wherever it may lead you.
And remember, we're always here to support you on that journey.
Yeah.
Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences on our social media. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.